Hi everyone, Ryan here, Ion Capital Solutions. Today I want to talk to you about a important topic. You can see by the thumbnail what we're talking about, right? We really got to stop taking crap from our clients, okay? This doesn't mean be mean or nasty to your client or argue with your client, but we can't be doormats. We have to be willing to have the hard conversation with our clients. We have to know how to handle the conversation, handle a tough personality, and of course, lead the call. And that can't happen if every time we come up against a tough personality, we're allowing that person to dominate the conversation, put the pressure on us, and we're basically fearful, right, of that person. And so therefore we just kind of sit back and let them control the call. That's not the way to do it. This happens a lot, as you can see in the funny picture in the thumbnail, right? Whether you realize it or not, this is the perception of you in the eyes of the client when you allow the client to control the narrative. So let's talk about it. Okay, so again, it's a funny image, but it's just so true. I mean, when we start something new and we're in a position of having to have answers, provide answers to somebody, right? Or we just deal with a tough customer in general, even a tough personality in our personal lives. Some of us naturally have the ability to push back or know how to handle the situation or diffuse it or whatever. Others are don't like confrontation, right? Or are just flat out fearful and don't respond well to the pressure being put on. It's only natural that at some point you're going to come up against this personality on the phone when talking to a person, right? And and understand that anybody who's borrowing money, they understand that they're the ones that are being put in the hot seat. They're the ones that are being put under a microscope. And perhaps they've been through that before and been declined or received an offer that was not favorable or behaved unprofessionally and were treated like a person who's not professional, right? And so the way that they're acting on the phone, the way that they're dealing with you, the special exceptions they want, the not being willing to share information may not be your fault. Consider for a moment that the box they're trying to put you in and the criticisms they have of you may not be accurate. It may be entirely about them and them trying to control and manipulate the call to get what they want out of it, as dim-witted as that may sound, because at the end of the day, they're going to be qualified. The file's going to be underwritten. It's not about them as an individual, even what they're saying. It's about what their financials reflect, what the assets reflect, if it's a secured loan or a purchase or whatever it may be. And so it's really all for naught if they're behaving the way they may be, right? But at the end of the day, that's not everybody. It doesn't always happen, but you have to be able to handle this situation, okay? I remember in the sales jobs that I had coming up in this industry and industries like it, the criticism of me from my higher ups was always, Ryan, you're too nice. I used to hate that. I hear that all the time. Ryan, you're too nice. Ryan, you're too nice. Even when I was a kid, with girls, and I was a little too nice, right? And I needed to not be the nice guy, right? Kind of thing. And you hear things like, don't be a doormat, and stick up for yourself, right? And whatever it is. And so I realized over time as I grew up, you can't do that. There's a difference between being respectful and having class and making people feel comfortable and behaving like a gentleman, and just flat out being a doormat and allowing people to walk all over you, take advantage of you, kind of thing, right? So as salespeople, we need to be very smart about that, right? We need to understand, okay, this person ultimately, they're on the phone not to be friends. They want to get the best possible deal for themselves, and they're going to do what they feel they need to do to get that result. So you can't be a doormat and just yes, 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 okay, whatever you need. Yes, just please give me your file so I can forward to the lender in the hopes that I'll earn a commission, because that client's going to be real upset when it doesn't go their way because you just yes them to death. Your lender partner is going to be really frustrated when you keep sending them bad files because you're unwilling to have hard conversations with clients. You're going to be upset because you're not earning money because you don't understand how to properly qualify a client. You're not willing to challenge the client to get the information you need to ascertain whether or not this is a waste of your time. Don't be a pushover. Don't be a nice guy. Don't be a nice girl, right? Make sure that you're asking the hard questions, the right questions. When a client says something that's wrong, correct them. When a client is not willing to come forward with information, okay, you don't want to share that information. That's fine, but ultimately the lender is going to need to see that information. So if you're not forthcoming with documents, you're not going to be funded. I'm more interested in why you don't want to provide that information to begin with. Is it really that you're skeptical, or is it that you think we're going to find something on your balance sheet that's going to show a lack of affordability and the deal's not going to go through? Have you applied elsewhere and been denied in the past? Challenge the client. You're the consultant, you're the broker, you're on their side. What you're essentially doing is trying to help them position themselves in the nationwide marketplace to get funded. So you need to know the good, the bad, and the ugly, but that can't happen if you allow them to have this perception that they need to dominate you or get through you to get what they want, because that's not it at all. It's really very much the opposite. They need to work with you and be transparent with you so that you can best help them position themselves. And so your job is to help them understand that. But that can only happen if you're willing to stand up to the client. Right. And a piece of advice was shared with me not too long ago, and I may be butchering it in the way that it was delivered, but essentially it was something to the effect of a lack of organization on your behalf does not create an emergency situation for me. And that's just the truest thing. And you really got to live by that. Just because a client is upset, is frustrated, has a tight timetable, wants something outside of the norm, does not automatically create this emergency situation for you where you need to all of a sudden have a fire lit under your butt and be walking around on eggshells and get something for the client outside of the norm just because they said so. If you're doing that, if you're behaving that way, if you're adopting the emotions of the client and allowing them to drive the narrative and lead, you're a pushover. You're too nice. You're taking crap from the client. Stop doing that. Don't do that. It's not going to serve your pocket. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help the lender. It's definitely not going to help the client. So we need to step outside of that box. It doesn't matter who you talk to, how high or low the loan amount is, whatever it is. It's always the same process. They have to fit in the same box as everybody else. Sure, there can be a custom fit for somebody. Once we've already provided funding options, they've been funded, the relationship is available, we can expedite the process. Sure. First time you meet somebody, they break bread like everybody else. They jump through the hoops like everybody else. And if they don't like it, take a hike. Next. And that has to be your mindset. Okay, so anyway, just wanted to share this information today. I see this all the time. Obviously, we have a loan broker training program, and we have a lot of new students who have low confidence when they start out. And my advice to them and to anybody watching this who's in a similar position, if you're going to mess up big. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, but believe in yourself and be confident and stick up for yourself. Don't go into this thing with your tail in between your legs and all shy, and you're going to struggle, right? And you're not going to get what you want. You have to be assertive. You have to be on top of things. You don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to be argumentative, but you need to lead. You need to control the narrative. For better or worse, you are the leader. All right? Anyway, that's going to do it for this topic. Thanks so much for your time. Best of luck with your deals. I'll catch you in the next video.